Imagine hiking into the scorching, like 105-degree desert sun of Sedona, Arizona. You're pushing through the brush of Secret Canyon, and the red rocks are radiating heat like an open oven.
Yeah, the air is just completely still out there.
Right, and you step into a clearing expecting to see this empty trail, but instead you find three people. They aren't resting, they aren't dead, they are completely, utterly frozen in midair.
It is such a chilling image.
I mean, one of them is pitched forward at this perfect 45-degree angle, just hovering an inch above the dirt mid-trip, and on his forehead, a single heavy bead of sweat simply refuses to fall.
Just entirely suspended in time.
Exactly. Welcome to our deep dive. Today we are dropping you straight into the most mind-bending puzzle we have ever explored. We are doing a detailed breakdown of part 1 of the massive season 2 finale of the What Are the Odds saga.
And honestly, the stakes have never been higher for the behavioral probability unit. Usually, a crime scene is an aftermath.
Yeah, it's already happened.
Right. It's a static reality. Investigators just sweep up the narrative. But this situation shatters that paradigm. The crime is currently happening. It will keep happening. And the threat is an impossible physics puzzle driven by a ticking clock.
What absolutely fascinates me about this scenario, and I mean this sincerely, is that it contains 0 fatalities. Like, nobody has died.
Not yet, anyway.
Right. But it still manages to be the most terrifying, dread-inducing situation that the behavioral probability unit has ever faced. We aren't dealing with a dirty bomb. We are dealing with an antagonist who has basically weaponized time itself. Or, I guess more accurately, the fundamental fabric of gravity.
Yeah, dropping the listener right into Agent Hatch's chilling audio log is just a masterstroke of sensory storytelling. I mean, Hatch is a seasoned veteran, right?
Oh, yeah, he's seen everything.
He's seen every variation of human cruelty, but nothing prepares the human brain to process a violation of fundamental physics. You look at 3 suspended hikers, and your brain just desperately searches for a normal explanation.
Like a fast-acting paralytic toxin or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or a complex wire rigging system. Just anything that obeys the laws of Newtonian reality.
But then Ayers and Cross, they quickly strip away those comforting illusions with their medical analysis because the biological horror here goes so much deeper than chemical paralysis.
Way deeper.
A neurotoxin just stops the muscles, right? But this trap hasn't stopped their biology. It has just decelerated it to this horrifying crawl. Cross detects that their hearts are still beating.
But barely.
Right, roughly 1 beat every 3 hours.
And unpacking the mechanics of that heartbeat brings us to the core scientific terror of the whole scenario, which is gravitational time dilation.
Which is just a terrifying concept.
It really is. General relativity dictates that gravity is not just a force pulling objects down.
Yeah.
It is the actual warping of space and time by mass or energy. So the deeper you are in a gravitational well.
Meaning like the stronger the pull.
Exactly. The stronger the gravitational pull, the slower time moves for you relative to an observer standing outside that well. Okay, so for those trying to visualize gravitational time dilation, it's kind of like the universe's rendering engine dropping to an infinitesimally slow frame rate. Like someone hit pause on a video game, but the characters are still rendering in the background at an impossibly slow speed.
That is a perfect analogy. And taking that further, the subjective experience of those characters, our 3 hikers in this case, is completely uninterrupted.
Wait, really? So they don't even know they're stopped?
To them, no time is passing. They're just falling. The neurons firing in their brains, sending the panic signal that they tripped over a rock, are traveling at that same dilated speed.
Oh, wow. So they haven't even had the cognitive time to realize they're in danger.
Exactly. They are mentally trapped in the split second before impact.
That is horrifying, because to the outside world, like to Agent Hatch and his team standing just a few feet away, these people are living statues. They're trapped inside this 50-foot radius where 1 second equals essentially 100 years.
And stepping inside that invisible 50-foot bubble to pull them out means you instantly inherit that exact same temporal lag.
You just become a statue, too.
Right, you become part of the exhibit.
So that logically pivots us to the big question. If we are dealing with Einsteinian space-time bending, how on earth is someone generating a black hole level of gravity under the dirt of an Arizona canyon?
Well, JAX's geomagnetic scan provides the mechanical answer, and it is just sheer, unbelievable audacity.
It's completely insane.
It is. Beneath the canyon floor, directly under the hikers, JAX discovers a buried circular array of hyperdense electromagnetic centrifuges.
And they're spinning at Mach 20.
20 times the speed of sound,
Yeah.
rotating through the dirt to generate an artificial gravity well. Because the equivalence principle in physics tells us that gravitational and inertial forces are often indistinguishable.
So by spinning hyperdense material at that speed, they're basically faking a black hole.
Yes, creating a localized centripetal force so extreme it mimics space-time warping. It drags the fabric of reality down into a funnel, creating a localized singularity that stalls time.
Creating a singularity in the desert introduces us to the unsub, this guy who calls himself the watchmaker.
Which is dripping with dark irony.
Oh, totally. A watchmaker builds devices to track the precise flow of time. But this guy has built a machine to completely shatter that flow, just snapping the hands off the clock for anyone unlucky enough to step into his web.
And we find his true motive carved directly into the red rock of the canyon wall, just millimeters outside the anomaly radius.
The manifesto.
Right. It reads, "Probability is just time waiting to happen. I control the weight."
That line gives me chills because it changes the entire context of the scene. He isn't trying to kill the hikers. He's putting them on display. They are perfectly preserved bait for a very specific audience.
Yes, for the behavioral probability unit.
Exactly. And I have to point something out here because this impossible clock is a direct, mocking challenge to Elias Vance's entire philosophy of probability, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
Elias operates on the belief that human behavior and events can be predicted through math. But the watchmaker is basically bending space-time to mock that philosophy. If the trap isn't designed to kill the hikers, then the trap is explicitly meant for the rescuers.
That tension is the absolute crux of Elias's character arc right now. Elias views the universe as an equation, so the watchmaker's message is an intellectual declaration of war.
It's like he's saying all your behavioral probability models are completely useless if I can just hit the pause button on time itself.
Precisely. Elias is taking this incredibly personally. He is compelled to beat the watchmaker, not just to save the hikers, but to validate his own worldview.
Which is dangerous, right? Because relying on the idea that the math is absolute feels like Elias is walking blindly into confirmation bias.
Well, it becomes an ego battle masquerading as a rescue mission. He has to prove the universe still obeys predictable laws.
So building on that, how does he plan to beat a machine that controls time?
By exploiting a mechanical flaw. Or maybe it's a deliberate design choice by the watchmaker. Jax discovers that spinning centrifuges at Mach 20 generates extreme friction.
Yeah, I mean, doing that buried under tons of insulating Arizona dirt means the heat has absolutely nowhere to go.
It's an underground pressure cooker. To prevent a massive meltdown, the system relies on a thermal degradation cycle. So the time-altering gravity field drops for exactly 42 seconds every 12 hours to vent the heat.
42 seconds.
That's the entire window.
And that sets up Elias Vance's terrifying strategy. Because when that field drops, real-time gravity snaps back instantly.
The transition will be violently immediate. The hiker frozen at a 35-degree angle will abruptly finish his fall. That single bead of sweat will hit the dirt.
So they'll just slam into the earth at full speed, completely disoriented, with no memory of being suspended.
Right. And during that chaos, the behavioral probability unit has to run inside the 50-foot radius.
Grab 3 panicking victims. Drag their dead weight out. Plant an explosive charge on the central centrifuge. And sprint back out before the machine spins back up.
It is an agonizing timeline. Doing all of that requires massive physical energy and precise coordination.
And doing it while an invisible countdown threatens to lock you into a century-long stasis, that pressure would completely degrade anyone's performance.
Which is exactly why Agent Hatch hesitates. Hatch represents the voice of practical biological reality here.
Yeah, Hatch looks at the timeline and argues that the variables are just too tight. Human beings stumble. Adrenaline makes your hands shake.
Not to mention the chaotic variable of 3 disoriented civilians waking up mid-fall.
I am completely with Hatch on this. You cannot script a 42-second tactical extraction in a rocky desert down to the microsecond. A boot slips on gravel and it's over. If you take 43 seconds, you become the newest statue on display.
Hatch is begging Elias to look at the fragility of the human element rather than just the rigidity of the math.
But Elias just completely dismisses them.
He does. Elias counters Hatch's fear with this chilling, absolute confidence. He tells him directly, quote, "The math is absolute, Hatch. The batteries run on a fixed degradation curve. We don't guess, we know."
We don't guess, we know. That line is haunting. He is betting the lives of his team and himself that the thermal degradation curve is an unbreakable law of physics.
By accepting the 42-second window, Elias is accepting the watchmaker's terms. The watchmaker built an impossible clock to test the limits of human probability, and Elias is arrogantly stepping into the gears, claiming he can run between the ticks.
It's a clash between human frailty and mathematical certainty.
It really is. The situation just accelerates into this agonizing 10-minute countdown to the window.
You have the team standing at the edge of this invisible anomaly baking in the sun, knowing that an unimaginable burst of kinetic chaos is going to erupt in less than a minute. What are the odds that the math is wrong? Elias Vance is about to step into the event horizon. Hold your breath. We'll see you in the Season 2 finale.
And as we step away from the red rocks of Secret Canyon, consider this final thought. The watchmaker claimed that probability is simply time waiting to happen, and he proved he could control the wait. If he's right, and our choices are just mathematical certainties delayed by the flow of time, or we all just trapped inside someone else's unseen calculations, we might all be walking through life completely unaware of when our own 42-second window might suddenly open or irreversibly close.